The parking lot was empty, her car was not. She was 18, shopping for Christmas gifts. Whoever killed her, break time equals 500 mounds, left blood behind. His blood, the midnight paradigm. That blood had no name. For 39 years. Here at the Midnight Paradigm, we re-examine the evidence. This is what the blood sample waited to say. What happens when genealogy databases crack cold cases? One detail in the case files stopped us cold. The killer's blood was typed. Group A, that was all. Blood typing in 1979 named a group, not a person. Michelle Martinko was born in 1961. Cedar Rapids was home. She was the daughter of Kenneth and Dorothy Martinko. She had just completed her first semester of college. The evening of December 19 began completely ordinarily. She drove to Westdale Mall for Christmas presents. Sometime that evening, someone forced their way into her car. The medical examiner documented 21 stab wounds. Did she know the man who entered her car? The investigation found evidence the attacker had been cut. The blood belonged to a different person than Michelle. Type A. All that science could offer in 1979. Cedar Rapids police interviewed hundreds. No match. No arrest. The Martinko family had no answer. Not that Christmas. Or for Christmas 1980. Or 1980. Or 2010. The Iowa DCI Cold Case Unit inherited the file. What strikes us, how much evidence actually survived. The blood was sealed properly. The custody chain held. That discipline, rare in 1979, would prove decisive. Before the internet age, the science simply did not exist. That technology would arrive and change everything about this. In the years after 1979, investigators did not stop. They followed leads, they interviewed witnesses, they chased dead ends. Court records show at least 3 suspects were cleared. Each time, blood typing failed to rule anyone in. This was the systematic limitation they could not overcome. Blood typing identifies a category. It cannot identify an individual. Roughly 45% of Americans share type A blood. That is approximately 150 million potential suspects in 1,979 America. The case stalled because of science, not negligence. With hindsight, the answer was sealed in that vault. By the late 1980s, DNA profiling was transforming investigations. Alec Jeffreys demonstrated the technique in 1984 in England. It entered U.S. criminal courts in Florida in 1987. By 1990, the Iowa DCI had acquired DNA profiling capability. The Martinko evidence was resubmitted, a full profile extracted. Investigators now had a genetic fingerprint, not blood type. They uploaded the profile to CODIS, the FBI database. CODIS matched convicted offenders. No match came back. CODIS logic: the offender's DNA must already be there. What about the perpetrator who was never convicted before? CODIS has a gap. It only catches the already caught. For 19 more years, the profile sat matchless. In 2017, GEDmatch changed a policy that altered everything. How do you solve murder when the science didn't exist? In 1979, blood could be typed but not profiled. Cedar Rapids investigators sealed the sample. They filed it. GEDmatch launched in 2010 as a genealogy comparison tool. Customers uploaded DNA data from commercial tests, Ancestry DNA, 23andMe. The tree had one branch no investigator had ever considered. By 2017, GEDmatch held over 1 million DNA profiles. In April 2018, the Golden State Killer case changed genealogy. The FBI used GEDmatch to reach Joseph James D'Angelo. D'Angelo had no CODIS record. His relatives were the key. So why didn't 1,979 investigators have this? Timing. Iowa DCI was among the first to recognize GEDmatch. They submitted the Martinko profile to Parabon NanoLabs. Parabon produces DNA phenotype composites from genetic markers. The composite suggested a Caucasian male, European ancestry. Now, here's where this case takes a turn. A genealogist began building a family tree from GEDmatch. The first matches were distant, fourth and fifth cousins. The genealogist method build every match's family tree out. This is triangulation, narrowing a family tree map grid. Over months, the tree grew. Iowa lines kept surfacing. Each node represents a documented genealogical connection, not speculation. The genealogist used public records, census data, and DNA. The privacy question is real. Most users uploaded for Ancestry. That tension is real. The same tool names others. By late 2018, the tree pointed to Delaware County, Iowa. One man fit every profile, Jerry Lynn Burns. Jerry Burns was 66 when the genealogy search ended. He lived in Manchester, Iowa, a town of 5,000. Manchester is 43 miles northeast of Cedar Rapids. In 1979, Burns would have been 27 years old. He had no prior record, never in any database. CODIS required a prior conviction. Burns had none. Surveillance deployed. The point of no return passed. Why did it take a jury 40 years? Detectives collected Burns's discarded DNA covertly, per the register. A discarded item, the legal standard without a warrant. Burns's DNA matched the 1979 sample. The result came back. The probability of coincidental match 1 in 750 quadrillion. Jerry Burns was arrested on December 19, 2018. December 19th, 39 years to the exact date. We do not know if the date was deliberate. The Martinko family was notified. The dormant file reopened. Burns did not confess. He maintained innocence throughout trial. The prosecution built its case on DNA, genealogy, proximity. The defense challenged genealogy methodology as circumstantial. The genealogy identified Burns. The DNA confirmed him, period. The DNA match itself, 1 in 750 quadrillion, not circumstantial. The jury deliberated approximately 4 hours before returning verdict. January 23, 2020. Jerry Burns convicted of first-degree murder. He was sentenced to life without possibility of parole. Michelle's parents did not see the verdict. Father died 2015. Her mother attended the trial. She was 81 years old. Her mother testified Michelle lit every room she entered. A mother's testimony after 40 years, that carries weight. We should be honest about what conviction did not resolve. Why'd a parking lot? His silence offers nothing. The motive was never established. The record is silent. Burns refused to speak. His silence, as recorded, is complete. DNA names the killer. It does not explain him. In our assessment, one of the cleanest genealogy prosecutions. The evidence chain from blood to conviction is unusually intact. Proper 1979 preservation created conditions for 2020 justice. That is 41 years between preservation and justice. Since 2000, genealogy has identified suspects in 600 cold cases. The technology requires biological evidence, a database, and a specialist. Destroy the evidence, corrupt the chain. The technology fails. That is why GEDmatch policy matters as much as science. In 2019, GEDmatch made law enforcement access opt-in only. After the change, profiles available shrank to just 280, 0. Fewer profiles mean fewer chances to find distant relatives. The Martinko case opened before the opt-in change took effect. Cases open today face tighter constraints. Some may be unsolvable. That is the honest reckoning of what genealogy can do. The Burns conviction sets a precedent for genealogy admissibility. No appellate court has overturned a genealogy conviction through 2024. The methodology has been challenged in 47 cases, none overturned. In all 47, the forensic DNA match was upheld. Investigators have a working legal framework. They have a tool. The question is whether they have the biological evidence. Thousands of cold cases have evidence in varying storage conditions. The NIJ estimated 250 unsolved homicides since 1980. Each of those cases has a family. Each family waits. The Martinko case is, in one sense, an optimistic story. A technological revolution compensated for a 1979 scientific limitation. The science failed to exist. The investigators did not. That framing matters for how we evaluate future cold cases. If the science was limited, improve the science. No cold case is hopeless if biological evidence survives. That is not optimism. That is the documented empirical record. The trial transcript from State v. Burns is publicly available. The Des Moines Register's coverage remains the most thorough journalism. Barbara Ray Venter's 2019 congressional testimony is essential reading. She articulates the methodology's power and limits better than anyone. Michelle Martinko was 18, Christmas shopping, Cedar Rapids, 1979. Her family finally had the answer. Full breakdown penned. Know a case Genealogy should reopen? Tell us below.